You know, you really can't tell the story of American politics without also telling the story of its media. So today, we're going to trace the incredible evolution of conservative media. It's a journey that didn't just change the political conversation, it really helped reshape the entire country. Okay, let's just jump right in. We're talking about a shift from, the golden age of AM radio, where one single voice could just boom through your car speakers and grab the attention of millions, to today's world. A world of podcasts, algorithms, and live streams. This is way more than a story about new gadgets and technology. It's about a complete revolution and how political messages are delivered and consumed. At its absolute core, this whole story is about a massive power shift. I'm talking about a deliberate move away from the traditional, the legacy media institutions, and into the hands of totally new platforms and personalities. To really get how we ended up here, we've got to go back to the beginning. So our first stop is the world of talk radio. This was really the original breeding ground, the incubator for the entire modern conservative media landscape. This is where it all kicked off. It really starts in the late 80s, when Rush Limbaugh's show went national and just changed everything. By the time we hit the 90s, the format was an absolute powerhouse. And by the early 2000s, well, the AM radio dial had become a crucial, non-negotiable tool for Republican political strategy.
So what was the secret sauce here? Well, Limbaugh didn't just read the news. What he did was build a community for people who felt completely left out of the national conversation. He offered this fiery, unapologetically opinionated content, and, this is key, he proved, for the very first time, that a dedicated conservative media ecosystem could be a massive commercial success.
And this phrase, wow, it just nails how the show was seen. It was never just entertainment. It was seen as a tool for influence, for community building, for political education. And that power, well, it set the stage for the next big leap.
The talk radio model was so incredibly successful that it was pretty much inevitable it would expand. So what was the next frontier? The most powerful medium of the time, of course, television.
So when Roger Ailes launched Fox News back in 1996, he totally disrupted the game. You had the legacy networks over here trying to be neutral and appeal to everyone. Fox News did the exact opposite. It explicitly branded itself as an alternative, it blurred the lines between news and opinion, especially in prime time, and it went after a conservative audience directly. The absolute genius of this strategy was right there in its slogan. Fair and balanced was a masterstroke. It framed the network not as being biased itself, but as a necessary fix, a corrective to a media world that, it argued, was already biased against conservatives. And the impact? It was huge. Fox News didn't just cover the political conversation, it started to drive it. It became this incredibly powerful force in setting the agenda for the Republican Party and really shaping the stories that fired up its base. But here's the thing about technology. It never stands still. Just as television was changing the game, a whole new revolution was already bubbling up. Let's turn to the seismic shift brought on by the internet and social media. You can really think about this evolution in 3 basic steps. First, we had radio, which was a one-to-many model. One host, many listeners. Then came cable TV, a few-to-many model. A few networks, many viewers. And now, we're in the many-to-many digital world, where basically anyone can create content and build an audience. Power became completely decentralized. This shift created a totally new kind of kingmaker. They weren't network executives, they were personalities who just got it. They understood how to master the algorithms and grab your attention online. Figures like Charlie Kirk became the digital heirs to Rush Limbaugh, just fighting on a completely new technological battleground. And man, what a battleground it is. Today's conservative media ecosystem isn't just one radio show or one TV channel. No way. It's this vast, interconnected network of podcasts, live streams, social media influencers, news sites, and activist groups all amplifying each other. And that decentralization makes it incredibly tough and resilient. Okay, so we've seen how all this media evolved. Now, let's talk about the big so what. What are the real, tangible impacts of this new ecosystem on our politics and our culture? One of the main concepts you'll hear discussed, and it's a term often used by critics, is the echo chamber effect. The idea is that it describes an environment where people mostly see and hear information that just confirms what they already believe. And, some argue, this can lead to people becoming more entrenched in their views and to greater political polarization. But beyond that debate, the functions of this ecosystem are really clear and powerful. For one, it is incredibly good at mobilization.
at getting voters and grassroots activists fired up. It also continues that powerful agenda-setting role of its predecessors. And, crucially, it gives politicians friendly platforms to speak directly to their base, often bypassing tougher questions from other media outlets.
So, let's bring all this together now. What we've seen is how the megaphone for conservative media has grown and totally transformed across three very distinct eras.
I mean, the journey itself is pretty remarkable when you think about it. It began with one man's voice commanding the airwaves, and it's become this sprawling, decentralized digital empire with countless voices, platforms, and formats. The mission? To influence, to mobilize. That stayed the same, but the methods have been completely revolutionized.
And that leads us to the final and most important question. This story is definitely not over. From radio waves to digital feeds, this media ecosystem has always adapted, and it's always thrived. So, with technology changing at a dizzying pace, the big question on everyone's mind is, what's next? What's the next revolution going to look like?